All right, y'all. I just got done watching what is probably the worst horror movie I've ever seen. There's the possible exception of Slender Man, um, but I just kind of I just kind of like repress that memory that that exists, because I don't like knowing that exists. Um, but yeah, man. So this movie's called Silent but Deadly Night 2, and it is so horrible, man. This is like genuinely probably like bottom 15 worst movies I've ever seen. And the only reason it isn't bottom 10 is because sometimes it reaches so bad it's good tier. Anyways, but let's just go into what makes this movie so awful. Okay, first off, I gotta mention that the main character in this movie, I have never in my goddamn life seen a movie or anything for that matter try to make you think try to portray a character as cool as this guy. Like they want you to think this guy is cool so bad, bro. They want you guys to think he's like the man. Like this guy is so freaking edgy, dude. And on top of the dialogue just being like just the worst thing ever. Like literally like the first thing they came up with. The actor who plays the main character might genuinely be the worst actor I have ever seen in anything ever. Like this dude fails every line, bro. I don't even know how he does it, bro. Like this dude fucks up every single line. His facial expressions are pretty decent, but bro, this dude cannot deliver to save his life. Anyways, but the writing, like the main character starts out as Shadow, but edgier, and then he turns into Deadpool, but not as funny. And I said not as funny. I'll admit, he does get pretty funny at times. Um, Almost every other actor in this movie is terrible too. Like they're not as bad as the main dude, but like they're bad. Anyways, the plot of this movie, um, I probably should have gone with the plot first, to be honest with you. But I've never done a movie review before, so yeah. But anyways, the plot of this movie is basically like these two people are driving on a street on Christmas night, and they run into a guy who is Santa, and the Santa,
Need a ride, Santa Claus?
Well, no, not exactly.
yeah. So something you might notice about this movie is, it's abrupt. It's very, it's very abrupt. There's like no build up. Anyways, because Santa kills the parents, the kids get put into this orphanage, and there's this nun who is like comically evil. And by comically evil, I mean she's probably married to Griffith because of how ridiculously over the top evil she is. Like, I understand they're probably going for like, oh, like nuns are usually good, we're gonna make this one evil, but it's like almost ridiculous that like someone could be that evil. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. So the character talking, there's two kids, right? So the character talking is the one being interviewed. He was a baby, but again, somehow remembers everything, even though he was a baby. Let's just not even talk about that for now. And there's like the 7-year-old, and so the 7-year-old's name is Billy. So to mind you, seven is old enough to remember. Not only is old enough to remember stuff. So you would think that if you were 7 and you saw your parents get killed by Santa Claus, who again, if you're 7, you're probably going to be looking up to Santa Claus. You're probably going to think Santa Claus is pretty cool if you're 7. You would think that that's something that would stick with you, right? Like, and you would be correct. But this nun, knowing that that happened to these kids, knowing the exact story of what happened to these kids, um, is still is upset that the kid Billy doesn't really want to associate with Santa, bro. So makes him like sit with Santa, and gets mad when he doesn't want to do that. He makes him. She gets mad when he like draws pictures of Santa getting hurt because Santa's kind of because he kind of killed his fucking parents, right in front of him. And then she even gets him a job playing as Santa. And I'm like no one thinks, hey, this might be an issue. Like, hey, this might cause issues. Like, that is like if your parents got mauled by like a puma, and then like someone's like, "Oh, I got you this new job. You're gonna love this job," and then they get you a job as a zookeeper, bro. Like, so because of the stuff that happened, the guy becomes this insane killer, Billy. And the violence in this movie, it is so cartoonish and over the top. It is like real. It is like a real life version of Happy Tree Friends. I want you when you're watching this movie, to think what is the stupidest possible way the person in this scene could die, and that is that is more than likely how they're gonna die. Like they say more than likely because they're probably smarter at coming up with stupider ways to kill people than you. Um, the deaths in this movie are so over the top that like I couldn't believe that this wasn't supposed to be a comedy. Like this wasn't a parody. I also want to bring up you maybe will noticing, oh, why is he not putting footage? And that's because every other scene in this goddamn movie is a fucking sex scene. Like 80% of the people that die in this movie die with their titties wide out. Like this is how you know that they knew they had a shitty movie, bro. Because they're like, okay, like let's just let's just put a bunch of sex scenes in it, and like teenagers will come see it and they'll enjoy it because like there's naked women in it. And I'm like, the people in these sex scenes aren't even cute. I am flaccid this whole fucking movie. Like, and it's like, it's like, bro, you made this movie in the 80s. You get a woman, there's a 50% chance you find a tomboy. Why are they this ugly, bro? Like, I shouldn't even be mad at that, but I am. Yeah, man. But like one example of how stupid one of the deaths is. For whatever reason, like the lady has like one of the ladies in one of the sex scenes goes to let her cat into the house, and then Santa was waiting outside of the house, and then so what he does to kill this woman is he picks her up and then like shoves a moose antler up her ass because she had a moose head on her wall. But yeah, on this killing spree, and I think it's time to mention how stupid literally every character in the movie is. I already kind of went over how dumb the nun is because um, because it's really fucking stupid to expect nothing to go wrong when you treat someone like that. But how stupid all these characters are. Now, in horror properties, you gotta suspend your tolerance for stupidity higher than you otherwise would, just because if the characters are smart, most of the time the horror movie wouldn't be happening. Which is kind of why I like Final Destination, because the characters in that are smart. But I digress. Um, like for example, in Outlast, right? No smart person's going to find their way in Outlast, but Outlast is a good horror game, right? Like you know what I mean. But it's like the characters in this movie are so fucking stupid that they have a like disability as to where their survival instincts are inverted. So like they just completely do the opposite of whatever you should be doing in that situation because to them their instincts are the opposite of what it would be for our normal life form. like like there's a scene where the dude knocks out Billy. Like no, doesn't knock out Billy. He punches Billy, and then instead of running out of the house, he calls the phone that is like 2 feet away from Billy, who he didn't even knock out. He just punched, and he like called the cops, thinking, oh, he's not gonna get back up, and obviously he dies. And of course, there's this woman who's like trying to escape from a store, and then she just stops moving when she sees Billy for no fucking reason when she's at the door with the axe, needed to break open the fucking safe. Break open the fucking door and escape with her life. Like, it is like everyone in this movie does the exact goddamn opposite. Also, the nun, Mother Superior, which is, I just remembered her name, like when she finds out that Billy's coming back to the orphanage to kill her because, that makes sense as to why, um, instead, and the cops are like, okay, you should probably lock all the kids up in the rooms, to make sure he doesn't kill anyone. She just stays in the fucking lobby with all the kids, like, not expecting anything to happen. And then that almost leads to her death because the kids open the door because kids aren't scared of Santa. Like they're not going to assume, oh, he's going to kill them. Now, luckily enough for her, they kill Billy, and that leads to our main character, Richard, to going on to a killing spree of his own. So the one kind of good thing about this movie is Richard sees Billy get shot in the orphanage when they kill him. So it's kind of like resets the cycle because like he sees his brother get shot, kind of like how Billy saw his parents get shot, kind of. Anyways, that kind of traumatizes him. So like when he sees red, like he kind of becomes psychotic like him. Anyway, so then Richard becomes like the main killer of the movie, and I think this is like when I want to talk about the fear factor of this movie. And it isn't scary at all, despite being a horror movie, because you generally don't even know if you're supposed to like side with the main characters or not. Like you're like, oh, and that's Billy or Richard, and it's like, oh, are you okay? So it's like at first you think, oh, they're only killing bad people, but no, they kill good. They just kill everyone. So you think of Billy, it's like, oh, he kills everyone because he's kind of first. And then like Richard, he only kills the bad people. But no, Richard kills everyone too. They're just mentally ill people. And it's like, but you're not supposed to know that because like you're supposed to like see them as like to have a sympathetic backstory. You see it in their perspective. So it's like it's hard to be scared of them. First off, it's already to be scared of someone who's like the protagonist or something. But like when you portray them like that, like it generally isn't. You generally aren't sure if the movie wants you to side with these characters or not. Especially with them trying to make this dude seem so freaking badass. Like it's so try hard, man. Like Bubsy was trying less hard than this, bro. Like, and to make matters worse, a lot of this movie is just batshit hilarious. Like.
Garbage day! Huh? No!
Again, man. If you want to make a character, first off, like if you want to make a protagonist serial killer scary, what you got to do is you got to start him off as a normal dude with like dark tendencies. So you got to see that he doesn't want to harm anyone, but like his evil nature eventually wins out, or like he's forced to do something, or like something like that. These dudes start off as fucking insane, psychopathic, unlikable, just all the worst traits you could have in a person. So like we're never scared of them because like we never really see ourselves in them, kind of. It's the same reason Kingsman isn't scary because they kill a lot of people in Kingsman. Like that's definitely a movie in the perspective of killers, but like the movie's just not framed that way. It's not framed in a way where like we see someone struggle with what he's doing. He's not framed in a way where like we don't get to know any of the victims before they die, so we don't like get attached to them as characters and thus fear for their lives. You know what I mean? It's like this movie kind of feels like that. I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, the dumbest part about this plot that I did not mention yet. So like Richard eventually goes for Mother Superior after the interview ends, as you might have been able to guess. And even though she's wheelchair bound and like 756 years old, she's like putting up a fight against this dude, even though to everyone else in the movie, he's basically a Captain America, like, like. But yeah, and in the final act of stupidity, even though she's wheelchair bound, Richard has an axe. Instead of going to leaving through the door, which she could realistically make, she goes into the kitchen to get a butter knife, thinking that that's going to be able to beat him, bro. Like, get the fuck out of here. You could like, first off, you're like 4,000. You could have gotten a gun, and there's a chance Richard could have beat you. Like, leave the house. But yeah, man, I don't really even know what to say. I don't even know how structured this review is. I just really had to talk about this movie, man.